I'm turned on Siege. Oh, I forgot you play. Ugh. Ugh.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Ubisoft is going to shit. Ugh.
Uh-huh. Remember when they were a name you could respect, like many years ago? You'd see Ubisoft and you're like, oh, new Tom Clancy game. Like, it's going to be such a complete experience. I can't wait.
I feel like the only like it was like, oh cool, Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed number 1, protect your account with two-step. Fuck you.
I skipped it. Yeah, I'm not going to do
Yeah,
it.
fuck you. But I remember like when Assassin's Creed first came out and the Splinter Cell series was still kind of like I enjoyed them and I was like, yeah, this is a good company. Well, I guess
Yeah.
Ubisoft is the publisher and then
Yeah, but still, they
yeah.
published good games, though, because every Rainbow Six entry was awesome up until that point, too. Like, which granted, I've never really hated Rainbow Six. I thought Vegas 1 and 2 were fun. I think this is good, but they, yeah, I don't know. They've just soiled their good name.
Well, like it's false advertising the way they advertise their games at like E3 and shit, and then like
Oh, I
downscale their
know, like a
graphics
Watch
and stuff like
Dogs.
that.
Jeez.
Every game, it's like almost every
Mhm.
game. So
At least the
okay,
one thing I'll give, not EA, but who is it that makes Battlefield? EA publishes, but is it not Cry? Dice.
Dice.
They at least come out and say, "Hey, this is PC footage. It's not going to look as good on your console."
I don't know. Like Dice, like they make good games. The problem with their games is EA gets a hold of it and goes, okay, we're gonna chop
Oh
up your
yeah.
game and we're gonna sell it for pre-orders and DLC, season
Uh,
passes, and then nobody wants to purchase a half
no.
game for full retail value.
That's why I was happy to hear the new
Like I haven't,
Titanfall. Every map is going to be a free DLC. And so I'm wondering how they'll screw it up, but that's a good start at least.
yeah,
Well, then what are you going to hold out on us? Like guns or something?
they honestly ruined that game. Evolved got ruined because of that their fucking platform, and I wanted to play Star Wars
It's
Battlefront,
a
but
quarter
I
game.
just
Like there's nothing there.
yeah, like what's the fucking
I was
point?
fine without having a campaign. Like I get it, it sucks, but it was the fact that there's like a handful of levels, a handful of heroes, and nothing else. And I'm like, oh, cool. So they'll fix it with DLC. So I won't get any Battlefield games unless they're like a year old and there's a complete edition, which is how they should be
It's
shipped,
just
complete. Ugh.
yeah, I don't
It's
know. It's like, well, we need to make money. I get
just
that,
sell an
but
expansion a year later. That's what games used to do. You'd get the whole game and then you'd pay $30 a year or two later and expand its life by like 3 more years.
and that's the great thing about expansions is that like you have this IP that is new or existing, and people are gonna buy the game and keep playing it, and then when the expansion comes out, you already have all your assets and stuff
Yeah.
built out in the game engine and stuff like that. You're just basically skinning the game, like reskinning the game a little bit and adding like new maps and stuff like that. You don't even have to rebuild a game from the
No, and
ground up. So for them to act like, oh, we'll just keep throwing little season passes at you, I don't even know what a fucking season
I
pass
know,
is.
and it's never
It's
it's
like,
well, it's,
is it temporary? Like it sounds like you get like content for the season and then it goes
well,
away or
there.
something
So
like
season
that.
passes when they first came out was essentially like buying an expansion because you'd pay like 30 or 40 and you would get all of the DLC that came out. And so the season, it wasn't just like a year, it was like every piece of DLC. But then the last like
So you
pretty
pre-ordered
much.
you pre-ordered
Yeah.
expansion
And so like you
basically.
would get like this DLC and then a month later when the next one came out, you would get that. But like they started off with like an okay intention. It was kind of like an expansion. I still didn't like it. But then recently companies have gotten more greedy, so season passes are like 40 or $50 now. And you still don't get all the DLC. You might get the level packs, but then they'll release like characters or skins or something and you don't get those.
Well, not to mention, you're paying for a full retail game that's not a full
Uh-huh.
game. You're then subscribing to a season pass where you're getting some of the
And you don't even know the
DLC, but
quality of
then
it
they
either, because
decide,
keep in mind you're locked
yeah,
in at that point. Like if it sucks,
and then they decide to throw in microtransactions on top of that to get more aesthetics that you should be already receiving from your fucking season pass. And then God forbid, like after all that shit you buy, all that stuff, and spend like $200-$300 into a game, and then they're God.
And I'm fine with like, I don't know, I'm almost to the point where I'd rather games get updates for free with more content, and the only thing you can pay extra for are like aesthetic stuff. I'm fine if people want to spend $100 and make their character look cool. I think that's fine. I think that's a really
Yeah.
healthy way to make a game stay balanced. And if people want to invest more in your game, they get rewarded by having a really unique character. I think that's awesome. I like that model. Like kind of like Counter-Strike.
I don't have a problem with microtransactions. Like for example, Blizzard did it the right way. They offer you 21 fucking heroes. Now they're not withholding any heroes from you, so it doesn't change the gameplay. They're just withholding aesthetic like items for your character that you could already earn inside the
Yeah.
game. But if you wanted to go out and just buy some cool stuff for your character, you can't even buy that gear. You just buy loot
Yeah, and
crates.
hope it's in there.
Yeah, so you're just basically you're buying more loot crates in the chance that and the loot crates are ridiculously cheap too. So I don't know. My biggest problem is like I'm kind of on the fence about episodic games. Like I understand like you offer a mission like a gameplay like a whole mission for 2 hours, right? And that's like $20, you know. So like I bought the first episode of the new Hitman game, but unfortunately it kind of backfires for both parties. I'm like, well, I just played this one episode for $20, and now I don't even really want to play the next episode because it's gonna come. You have to wait for another like 3 or 4 months for it to release, if that. And like just thinking about Final Fantasy VII being released episodically,
I'm not doing it.
I'm just
I'll
like,
wait.
well, it's just like I lose my momentum, and then you stop wanting to actually play the game for a while.
Yeah.
And those games are all about, momentum.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I will absolutely wait on that one. I'd rather it just be finished and then I play it then.